Hello students, wish you a very warm welcome to all. So we were discussing about nomenclature. Nomenclature means simply naming of organisms. So it is the science of providing distinct and proper names to organisms as per the established universal practices and rules so that they can be easily recognized and differentiated from others. So simply we can say that nomenclature means naming of organisms as per certain rules so that they can be easily identified and they can be easily recognized. Okay? Now, in this nomenclature, each organism is given a two-word name. Each organism is given a two-word name. One is called generic and another one is called specific. For example, Naja Naja is deer cobra. It is called Naja Naja. So one is generic name and one is specific name. This scientific name we need to, when it is handwritten, we need to underline this. Okay, we will study this when we will study about the rules of nomenclature. At that time we will study this. So each organism is given a two-word name. One is generic and one is specific. For example, Naja Naja. Now, two types of names are given to the organisms. Two types of names are given to the organisms. One is called common name or vernacular name and another is called scientific name. Now first we will study about common or vernacular names. Now this nomenclature, that is naming of organisms, it started with the appearance of when there was the appearance of language in human civilization. From that time this naming of organisms started. So at that time organisms were also given some names, common names were given at that time, and these common names, they are simply local names. And these names are given to the animals and plants in a particular language, for example, and region of the world by local persons. So we can say that these common names, they are given to the plants and animals by local persons. These are local names in a particular language, okay, and region of the world, according to the region of the world. Now these common names, they are based on some peculiarity of the organism. That is, these names are based on some properties of an organism. So on the basis of that property we can say that, or on the basis of that character which is present in an organism, these common names are given. Okay? Now these common names, these are usually simple word names, and they are hence uninomial, one word name. Binomial means two word name and uninomial means one word name. Trinomial means three word name. Polynomial, different form. For example, now these common names, they are brief and they are easy to pronounce. They are easy to pronounce and easy to remember by the residents of an area. Why? Because this common name has been given to that plant or animal by the local persons. So these names, they are brief and they are easy to pronounce and remember. Okay? Now these common names, they cannot be used by biologists. Biologists cannot use these common names due to the following reasons. First important reason on the basis of due to which these common names cannot be used by biologists is, first, common names differ from region to region. Common names differ from region to region and language to language. We know that common names, they differ from region to region and language to language. For example, if we will take the example of onion. In English it is called onion. In another language, for example in Kashmiri, it is called one more different name. In Tamil it is called one different name. So these names, they differ from region to region. Okay? Same is the case mango. It is name in Kashmiri language is something else. In Tamil it is called something else. In another language it has a different name. So these common names, they differ from region to region and language to language. Now this an organism may have several names. An organism may have several names. It means that in different parts of the world, or simply we can say that in different parts of the country, this organism may have different several names. For example, onion. In Kashmiri it is called gand. In Tamil, I don't know what it is called. In English it is called onion. In Hindi it is called kanda, etc., etc. It means that it has different names. It has different names. An organism may have several names. Now, after that, a common name may have different meanings in different areas. Okay, when it is given different names in different areas, it means that it may also have different meanings in different areas. Now, if a wrong common name is given to an organism, that cannot be easily corrected. So, if a wrong name is given to an organism, that wrong name cannot be easily corrected. Now, it is about scientific names. So, due to these common names, we face a lot of difficulty, lot of problems. So, for that, in order to overcome these problems, biologists discovered scientific names for organisms. Now, in scientific names, organisms must have a scientific name. Organism must have a scientific name. That scientific name which is acceptable all over the world. Now, such naming must be based. These scientific naming, it must be based on agreed principles and criteria. A scientific name must be given to an organism on the basis of some principles and criteria which are agreed all over the world, which are accepted all over the world. Now, the scientific names ensure that only one name is given to an organism. Okay? Scientific name, only one name is given to an organism. And the description of the organism should help the other people to arrive at the same name in any part of the world. Now, each kind of organism representing a species. We know that in a species there are different types of organisms, and each kind of organism is given a different name to distinguish it from the others, so that it can be distinguished from other kind of organisms also. One has to ensure that, important point, such a name, when a name is given to an organism, after that we have to ensure that such a name has not been used earlier for any other organism. Okay, so here I write only one scientific name. Only one name is given to an organism. So here we have to ensure that such a name which is used for some organism, it has not been used earlier for any other organism. So this was all about scientific names. These are some important points. Remember these. If there is any confusion, you can tell me. Organisms must have a scientific name which is acceptable all over the world. These are simple terms. Okay? Now, the following have been practices for providing scientific names to the organisms. Now, in first polynomial nomenclature and then trinomial nomenclature. Polynomial means many. Trinomial means 3-word name. Polynomial means many words name. So, in polynomial nomenclature, before 1750, scholars used to add series of descriptive words to designate a particular species. In order to designate a particular species, scholars used to add series of descriptive words. Here it is an example, you can easily understand this. For example, Caryophyllum is there. The name given according to the polynomial nomenclature was Caryophyllum sextilis follis gramineus umbellatus corymbus. So, for Caryophyllum, the name according to the polynomial nomenclature was Caryophyllum sextilis follis gramineus umbellatus corymbus. So, what does this mean? It means Caryophyllum growing on rocks. This is that type of Caryophyllum which grows on rocks, and it has grass-like leaves and umbellate corium arrangement of flowers. Okay, see this 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is one Umbelatus corymbus. This Caryophyllum, it has a polynomial name, that is Caryophyllum sextilis follis gramineus umbelatus corymbus. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is a 5-word name. It is a 5-word name. So in this description of words is given. Series of description of words. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Description of series of words is here used to designate a particular species. Okay, it means Caryophyllum growing on rocks, having grass-like leaves and umbellate corymbs arrangement of flowers. Now these long names, they cannot be easily remembered. It is very difficult to remember such a name. Okay. Now here is one term is here. This umbellate corymb arrangement of flowers. Umbellate corymb arrangement of flowers. This is a type of inflorescence, that is arrangement of flowers. Arrangement of flowers. So corymb, this corymb, it is an inflorescence, a type of inflorescence corymb in which the pedicels of the lower flowers are longer than those of the upper ones. I will show you an example here. For example, this is here. Okay. Now, here I will draw a diagram so that you can easily understand this corymb arrangement of flowers. So this corymb, it is a type of inflorescence, that is arrangement of flowers. In this, if you can see that the pedicels, the pedicels of the lower flowers, this is the pedicel of the, this is the lower flower, this is its pedicel. The pedicels of the lower flowers are longer. These are longer as compared to the flowers of the upper ones. Okay, so this is called corymb arrangement of flowers, or we can say that this is called corymb inflorescence. Remember this important point, it is here corymb arrangement. Corymb inflorescence is a type of inflorescence in which the pedicels of the lower flowers are longer than those of the upper ones. See here, upper ones, these, the pedicels of these flowers are smaller as compared to the pedicels of the lower flowers. So this is called corymb arrangement of flowers, or this is called corymb type inflorescence. Okay, about that inflorescence we will study later, but here it was that term that is corymb inflorescence, so that I show it here. Hope you are understanding this. Now, trinomial nomenclature. We studied about polynomial nomenclature, in which a description of words, okay, different words were used to identify an organism, to describe an organism. Now, in trinomial nomenclature, so far some time 3 words were also used for naming an, 3 words are also used for naming an organism. Okay, these include, now we know that in binomial, first one is generic and another one is specific. In trinomial nomenclature, 3 words are also used, 3 words are given. These 3 words include, first one is called generic and another is called specific, and third one is called subspecies epithet. Subspecies epithet. For example, the modern man is called Homo sapiens sapiens. Homo sapiens sapiens. This is generic, specific, subspecies epithet. One more example is gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. One more example is written here. Gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. Now these are the 3 word names, trinomial nomenclature. Homo sapiens sapiens, gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. Another one is Acacia nilotica indica. I will write it here. One more example. Acacia nilotica indica. Okay, see, this is the trinomial nomenclature in which 3 words are used for naming an organism. Okay, now rules of nomenclature. Rules of nomenclature. First important rule is that in nomenclature, names are generally in Latin. Names are generally in Latin, and they are written in italics. They are written in italics. Now, if this Latin version is not available, then names are Latinized. Now, if we will talk about binomial, binomial consists of genus and specific epithet. Remember this, in binomial nomenclature, two word names are given. One is called genus or generic, and another is called species or specific epithet. Now, whenever we are writing the name of any organism according to the binomial nomenclature, name of genus always starts with a capital letter. Name of the genus always starts with a capital letter. For example, here Homo, H capital, Homo sapiens mangifera indica, M capital. In binomial nomenclature, we are studying about mangifera. This M is capital. This is capital. Now, while names of species start with small letter, Mangifera indica, I small. Whenever you need to write the binomial name of any organism, remember that the name of the genus, it always starts with a capital letter, and the name of species, it starts with a small letter. Okay? Here I wrote an example, Mangifera indica. Now, if names are handwritten, if we write the names with our hands, handwritten, if they are handwritten, name of genus and name of species are separately underlined. Important point. If names are handwritten, name of genus and name of species, they are separately underlined. For example, Taenia solium. This is Taenia, we will underline this, and this is solium, we will underline this also. Same, for example, I will give you one more example here. I will write Pheretima posthuma. See, this I start with capital letter, and this I start with small letter. Pheretima posthuma, and then I will underline this one, and I will underline this one also. Another one is Taenia saginata. I will underline this one, I will underline this one also. Taenia solium. This is a tapeworm. This is called poke tapeworm. Poke tapeworm. Tapeworm. This is Taenia saginata. This is also a tapeworm, but this is called beef tapeworm. Tapeworm. And this Pheretima posthuma, it is an earthworm. Try to remember these names, scientific names. Try to write these names so that they can be easily remembered, so that you can memorize these words. So Taenia solium, and I underline it here because when the names are handwritten, name of genus and name of species, they are separately underlined. Taenia solium, poke tapeworm. Here also Pheretima posthuma, P capital, this P small, and I underline them also. So this is earthworm. Taenia saginata, this is beef tapeworm. Okay, so here when when we are writing the binomial names, that is scientific names, name of both the name of the genus and the name of the species, they are separately underlined. They are separately underlined. Okay, now sometimes the name of author is also written, but the name of the author that comes after the name of the species, generally written in abbreviated form in Romans. For example, if we need to write the name of the author also, in some species the name of the author is also written, but that comes after the name of the species, generally written in abbreviated form. For example, I will write here an example. Here, Rubus ursinus. First we will underline them, and then I will write the name of the author, but in abbreviated form. Sham and Sheldon. So these two scientists, or these two authors, the name of these two authors, they are written in abbreviated form after the name of the species. Okay? This is abbreviated form. If we will see the full name of this, its full name is Adelbert Van Chamisso. Okay, Sam. Okay, so the name of author, it comes after the name of species, and it is generally written in abbreviated form in Romans. Okay. Now, when a binomial name, it is written with the name of author. With the name of, for example, here I write the binomial name, and I also wrote the name of the author. This is called the binomial epithet. This is called the binomial epithet. So when a binomial name is written with the name of the author, it is called binomial epithet. If name of species, maximum and minimum number of alphabets in genus and species, it is from 12 to 3 respectively. Maximum and minimum number of alphabets in genus and species. Now, if name of species consists of 2 words, if name of species, it consists of 2 words, then 2 words are joined by putting a hyphen between the 2 words. Okay, for example, here I will write, for example, hibiscus rosa sinensis. Hibiscus rosa sinensis. See, this is generic name, and this is species name. It is 2 words are there, so I will put a hyphen between these 2 words. Okay. Now this is a China rose, shoe flower. It is also called a shoe flower, China rose. Hibiscus rosa sinensis. So it is here. If name of species, this is the species name of the species. It consists of 2 words, rosa and sinensis. Then 2 words are joined. These 2 words are joined by putting a hyphen. I draw a hyphen here. I put a hyphen here between these 2 words. Okay. Now, principle of priority is followed. Principle of priority is followed. For example, I will write here. We will see this. The first valid published name is accepted as binomial, and rest are considered as synonymous. So, first principle of priority is followed means that the first valid published name, valid, but it must be valid, it is accepted as binomial, and rest, if other names are also given to that organism, these other names, they are considered as synonymous. Okay, this means principle of priority is followed. The first valid published name is accepted. Okay, now tautonyms and homonyms. Tautonyms and homonyms. Tautonyms means when name of genus and species are same. When name of genus and species are same, they are not accepted in ICBN, that is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature, but these are accepted in International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. Okay, tautonyms means when both genus and species are same. For example, here I will write Molus. Molus, this is generic name, genus name, and this is species name. Apple is called Molus. So in ICBN they are not accepted, but in IC, the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, and it is International Code of Botanical Nomenclature. In International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, these are accepted, tautonyms are accepted, but in ICBN they are not accepted. Okay, understood? Now homonyms are illegitimate names. Homonyms are illegitimate names, which means that these names, homonyms, they are unauthorized. They are not authorized, which means that a single name is given to two different organisms. That is not accepted. These are unauthorized. If a single name will be given to two different organisms, they cannot be identified. They cannot be easily identified. Okay? So tautonyms and homonyms. Hope you are understanding this. Tautonyms means when name of genus and species are same. For example, Malus, Malus is there. Okay? When name of species and name of genus, they are same, that is called, these are called tautonyms. These are called tautonyms. One more example for that, the tautonyms is Rattus, Rattus. Rattus, Rattus, rat. This is rat. See here, Rattus, Rattus. This is name of the species and name of the genus. Name of the genus is this, generic is this, species is this, specific epithet. So they are same. We call them tautonyms, and they are accepted in ICBN, but they are not accepted in ICBN, but they are accepted in ICZN. Now homonyms, they are unauthorized names. They are not authorized. They are not accepted. In homonyms, what is a single name is given to two different organisms. Okay. For example, for almond and plum, they have a common single name, same name. For example, for both, it is Prunus dulce. Prunus dulce. It is a single name and it is given to two different organisms, two different, almond and plum. But these are not accepted. These are not authorized. Now, taxonomic hierarchy. Taxonomic hierarchy. Now, taxonomic hierarchy, it refers to the process of arranging various organisms. So, it is the process of arranging various organisms into successive levels of the biological classification. Okay, I will show you an example, and in that you will clearly understood this, what is taxonomic hierarchy. You don't worry about that. So you just see taxonomic hierarchy, it refers to the process of arranging various organisms into successive levels. Now each of this level, we classify an organism in different levels, successive levels. Each of this level of the hierarchy, that is called the taxonomic category or rank. Okay. Now in taxonomic hierarchy, it is the process of arranging various organisms into successive levels of the biological classification. Different levels in biological classification we use now. So arranging these organisms in these different levels of biological classification, that is called taxonomic hierarchy. Now each of this level, it has different levels. I will show you an example. It has different levels. In this taxonomic hierarchy, there are different levels, and each level is called taxonomic category or taxonomic rank. Each level is called taxonomic category or taxonomic rank. Here we will see an example so that you can clearly understood what is taxonomic hierarchy. For example, we will take the example of lion. Okay, lion. See, these I will write first kingdom. These are the levels, successive levels. Okay, kingdom, phylum. These are the taxonomic categories: class, order, family, genus, and species. Now, lion, it belongs to the kingdom Animalia. When we will study biological classification, at that time we can clearly understood this. It belongs to the kingdom Animalia, and phylum is Chordata, class Mammalia, order Carnivora, and family is Felidae, genus is Panthera, and species is Leo. Now this is the taxonomic hierarchy of lion. Taxonomic hierarchy of lion. Okay, see here. Taxonomic hierarchy, it refers to the process of arranging various organisms into successive levels of the biological classification. Now these are the different levels of biological classification: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, so when we arrange organisms in these levels, that is called a taxonomic hierarchy. That is called a taxonomic hierarchy. For example, this is the taxonomic hierarchy of lion. This is the taxonomic hierarchy of lion. Kingdom, Animalia, phylum, Chordata, class, Mammalia, order, Carnivora, family, Felidae, genus, Panthera, species, Leo. See this Panthera genus, so it is named, first we will write the genus name, that is Panthera, and species name, that is Leo. Panthera, Leo. This is the taxonomic hierarchy of lion. Now you need to remember these: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, for that I will memorize this sentence. You will easily understand this. King of Poland came over for good salad. Okay, remember this. King of Poland came over for good salad. King, for this K it stands for kingdom, this P it stands for phylum, this C for class, O order, F family, G genus, S species. So remember this. Memorize this sentence: King of Poland came over for good salad. You will remember these levels, that is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, so this was all about the taxonomic hierarchy of lion. So now here one more important point is, we each of this level of the hierarchy, it is called the taxonomic category. Okay, so each of this level, these are called the taxonomic categories. This is called a taxonomic category. This is also called taxonomic category or taxonomic rank. These are all called taxonomic categories or taxonomic ranks. Okay, now the main aim of a taxonomic study is to assign organism an appropriate place. In this systematic framework of classification, biological classification. Simply, its main aim is to assign organism an appropriate place. Okay. Now this taxonomic hierarchy, it is the framework by which taxonomic groups are arranged in definite order. That is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. They are arranged in a definite order from higher to lower categories. I will tell you which one among them is higher category and which is called a lower category. This is also called linear hierarchy. Because it was first proposed by Linnaeus. Okay. Now Linnaeus first, he used only 5 categories: class, order, genus, species, variety. These 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 categories were used by Linnaeus. Okay. The last one was discarded, that is this variety. It was discarded and 3 added. So that now there are 7 obligate categories. Okay. So this was discarded, and first kingdom. Here kingdom, K for kingdom, then phylum, then class, then order, then genus, and then species. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Family, after order it is family. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So these are the 7 categories, or these are also called 7 obligate categories. Okay. So this was all about for today. Inshallah, in the next lecture we will study about this. We have not completed yet these taxonomic categories. So thank you very much.